Thank you very much. By the way, my name is Ahmed. You can call me Ahmed or Ahmed. Unfortunately, I have to take off my glasses to be able to read, but when I look at you, I don't see anything, so I'm really in big trouble. The question is, what is one of the misconceptions? What is one of the misconceptions about your faith? I don't know, maybe it should be 1,000? So this is a very hard one because which one should I pick? Let's start with the one that we are talking about. Is Islam, one of the misconceptions that Islam rejects others and does not accept diversity. So let's start with this one. So I'm not going to answer from my own. I believe the primary sources is the best and the most powerful evidence, which is the Quran. So Allah said in the Quran, God said in the Quran, that He created mankind from different nations and tongues, so we would know one another. So this verse by itself, it tells us that He created us from different nations and tongues, different races, so we would know one another. Because if He created us from the same race, the same tongue, the same language, what would be interesting for us to know one another? It would not be interesting at all. So this is one. The other thing is regarding other religion. Does Islam accept other religions? So this is something maybe shocking to some of you. But in the Quran, for example, it says that if it was not that mankind, Muslims especially, that they push the others, there will be synagogues, churches, and mosques will be burned down, just because the name of God was mentioned in it. Which means that as a Muslim, I am obligated to defend the synagogues, the churches, and the mosques to do not be burned down. This is my role as a Muslim. And I should, even if I die for it, I'll go to heaven. So this is something, one of the misconceptions that people think that Islam is against other religions. The other thing that I would like to add here, especially that we are in a church, I would like to show you what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, did. When a delegation from a Christian tribe came to visit him in Medina. They traveled for many days, and they wanted to debate him, actually, about his faith. So debating was not like a really friendly one. But he asked them, where are you going to stay? They said, well, we will see where we're going to stay. And he said, okay, don't go anywhere. Stay in my mosque and pray in it. That tells you, from the example of Prophet Muhammad himself, what should we act, or how should we act with the non-Muslims. Thank you.
3 minutes to answer.
3 minutes? Oh.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Tell me when to start.
Go.
Oh. Why do Jewish men wear a beanie? And I'll do both of them at the same time. And why do men standing praying at the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem with a prayer shawl over their head? Okay, good question. We wear a beanie. I'm going to give your answer. I have another answer too. Because we're always reverent to God. But her answer is, and let's face it, we've been on this earth for over 5,000 years, and so we have a lot of different answers for the same question.
I think I should say my answer.
Oh, you go ahead.
So men wear the beanies. Men wear kippot. And I was taught that the reason why men wear yarmulkes or a kippot is to always remind them that there's something bigger than them, that God is above them, and a higher power is above them, above their ego. So that's what I was taught.
And now you know why Jewish men are taken back by the women. Okay, did we have another question?
The wailing wall. The wailing
Oh, yes. Why do you... First off, you have to understand that Jewish men, when they stand at the Wailing Wall, they are literally speaking to God. Okay? And so it doesn't mean he's going to answer them at that moment, but it does mean that it's being received. And so what they will do is they will put their prayer shawl up and over the head. Why? Because it becomes you and one with God. Thank you.
I'm making it beautiful.
Thank you. And so when you're reciting your prayers and you do what's called davening, which is rocking back and forth, it becomes a sequence of rhythm. And so you're saying it to the rhythm of your davening, and it is going directly to God.
That's it.
Okay?
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's actually addressed to all of us, but it says, if we wanted to learn more about your faith, who do we contact? And as those of you who are familiar with the Christian faith, there are many different denominations. I happen to be Lutheran. I'll let the other two speak for, or three speak for their religion, but if you're interested in learning about the Lutheran faith, did we put our information on anything tonight? Yes. Okay, so
Yes.
I'm hoping I didn't look, but hopefully there's literature that you have that has some way to contact all of us. And I do just want to also say, not regarding my question, but being with these folks on this has changed me personally. You know, we talk about the language that we use, and tolerance was a word I used for a really long time, and I now have changed my verbiage to use embrace, and that's what I say now, and that is because of what these folks have been so kind and have taught me. I never thought of the perspective of the fly in the kitchen, and that was just eye-opening for me, so I just wanted to share that.
Do we want to let everybody answer that question? Every faith? Is that, I mean, it's just a very short question. Who do we contact? I don't know if they were asking
email on the
Christians.
fly.
Actually, I'd like to take that opportunity to let everyone know that the Rutherford County Interfaith Council, heretofore called RCIC, because that's a mouthful, does have a Facebook page, and all of our email addresses are on there. So if you're interested in any one of the faiths and asking them questions or finding out where their events are and when they are, you can just go onto that page and it's on there.
Can
And since we're here, we meet every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock.
Not I.
So, do you want to pass it? And do you want to say something, Dr. Argos? Take the microphone, please.
Even though I'm a physician, but you have to understand, I've done this interfaith thing from very early on in 8th grade, and teaching and giving, talks and discussions. But I wanted to emphasize that in Ganesha Temple, which is in Nashville, Bellevue, we have Parent Appreciation Day that I started 2 years back. And we invite everybody there because it's not just for Hinduism. Our goal is, it's on close to Valentine's Day, that there is something called selfless love that we have to understand from the mother and father's love for the child. And so we do some kind of a ritual that day, and we show a video to try to send that message, especially to the young people who take it for granted, So I invite you all to come, and I think I sent you the flyer for it, and we have an Eventbrite for it, and it's from 11 o'clock on February 17th or 12th. February 12th, Sunday, from 11 o'clock to 12:30. So last year we had some people from the Southern University and MTSU and Davidson Lipscomb join us there.
Thank you. Are there other questions for the Christian?